So next we're going to dive into, I guess, the step above, the next larger one, which is the GLE 350.
That would be the one. That is the car that kind of grabbed a hold of the market here for the larger SUV, and kind of grabbed it by the horns and wouldn't let go. That car was introduced, I believe, as the fourth generation of the GLE class. Originally started out as the ML, that was renamed in 2016 with that mid-body refresh, the GLE. And the reason they did that, they wanted all the SUVs to follow a certain naming convention, tying it in with the counterpart sedan, GL, Geländewagen, Light, and then E-Class. So that's how that all ties in. That car came out in 2019 as a 2020 model, and it has been in high demand ever since. I know we're talking about GLE 350, but I will tell you that all these, first talked about classes. There's other engine choices you can get with those, and of course that gives you more power, of course, a higher price tag. But the most popular one is the GLE 350 right there. That one has the sport package, so it has a little bit sharper, more muscular look. That's where you get those diamonds in the grille and the single lamella. Also the splitters in the front bumper, and the way it's all tapered and put together, very muscular, sexy look. Again, LED lamps, you're going to find that on everything. That one sits on the AMG multi-spoke wheels. If you look down the side, you have the more flaring rail down the side of the car. Okay, there you go, hallmark right there on the mirror, the turn signal that's been mounted up there on a Mercedes since I think 1996, I think. Move it up so people can see it. The flaring fender arches in the back, so that gives the car a wider hips, more of a, again, muscular look. The way the bumper is tucked in underneath, and the pipes are all wrapped in chrome. And of course, the protector, the chrome protector band right there on the back, where you would be loading cargo in and out. So it just gives the car a sharper, more muscular look.
Muscular is definitely a great word to describe it.
Car almost looks like a sports car, huh? It's pretty cool to be a big SUV and kind of look like it should be a sports car. I mean, it's pretty amazing what they're able to do with that AMG line styling. Like from the wheels up. It's definitely something too. Like I know Scott mentioned about like the lights. If you look at even how they're styled and everything, it's kind of like a coupe tail light. So you kind of have like the coupe styled lights, the two-piece light assembly that you see there. It's all kind of like from a design language standpoint, Mercedes really trying to encapsulate that sort of car styling. And one of the things that I love about this size is this is where you really notice with Mercedes the idea of not building these on a ladder frame. So if you go back a little bit into like how Scott was talking about, like the ML and the earlier generation GLE, something that's really changed a lot over the years is how these bigger SUVs with this brand drive like cars. You are up a little higher, of course, but you basically have a car-like platform here. You actually have a monocoque platform, which is essentially the same concept as what we have with our cars, kind of like what you see with like race cars. And that's actually a little bit how we kind of gain that technology, is by basically building an SUV from a structure standpoint, almost like it's a race car. So when you do that, not only can you build some of these cars the way that we do with AMG to make them go extremely fast, but just to make for a much more fun vehicle on the road. If you're after a larger mid-size or even the full-size version with the GLS that drives kind of car-like, that's one of the exceptional things about these vehicles. It does not drive like it's a school bus. This is the vehicle where if you want to make a U-turn, if you want to take a turn, I mean, if you have a corner coming up and you're, going faster than you realize, which is pretty easy to do in a Mercedes, and you're trying to corner at 60, 65, 70 miles an hour, that's the kind of stuff you can actually do with these SUVs, which is pretty darn impressive, and something that, in a lot of vehicles, you're going to feel an awful lot of body roll.
Anthony, I don't want us to tell on each other, but do you remember the first demo version of this car they gave us in the sport package, that gray one?
I think so.
You remember that car? We all took it home?
Yeah.
you get to play with the toys. Come on. You know, and here's the thing here at this particular store, Bud Smail Motor Cars, we're not just salesmen, we're all enthusiasts.
Mhm.
You know, we like the cars. We are car people by nature, and we all took a turn with it. I live over in Cambria County, up over the mountain and everything else, and I did not take it easy on it, and I'm a sedan driver by my nature, and it never once disappointed me. It was never too compliant or gave me that feeling of that little bit of shakiness that you can get with a higher framed vehicle. Not once. The monocoque construction, the way the suspension's put together, it will do whatever you ask it to do, and it's kind of like the whole line from Oliver. A little bit more, please. It asks for more, and you can give it to it. It will never disappoint you the way it performs.
Mhm.
Dual 12.3-inch digital displays. Looks like a spaceship. It's pretty awesome.
Uh-huh.
That's
So this
usually the
one's
first thing that
even
kind of catches
bigger?
everybody's attention. Yeah, you got two 12.3-inch displays in there, so that's a huge piece of glass.
Wow.
Definitely kind of stands out. One of the first vehicles to kind of go in that direction from a center console style, which is pretty awesome. You have to show off that sunroof too there, Brian. It's pretty awesome. So our roofs for a lot of years now with the panorama roofs have been all glass, which is kind of another one of those engineering things that you find with Mercedes. But the panorama roof's 50% larger on the GLE and GLS, which is pretty amazing. It's something that you definitely have to see. It's definitely makes for a really cool open cabin. I actually kind of like that this is a black interior, so you can show off how open it feels even though it's a darker interior.
Mm-hmm.
And
I noticed that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to add to something Anthony was saying. In the previous generation, there was a roller there in the middle. It had two rollers that would pinch from the middle and open up like this, in case you wanted to close the sun blind. This doesn't have that. The whole thing is open except for that seam there, when you have to have that for the two pieces of glass to fit.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's just, I mean, even from the back seat, you're getting all this natural lighting. It, like how Anthony said, it opens up the vehicle so much.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of little things to mention, just again, equipment. This is standard across the line. You have rain sensing windshield wipers. You have the automatic headlamps that turn themselves on at night. You want to worry about turning your headlights on. Of course, a wonderful little device that came out 10 years ago called Attention Assist. It monitors 64 different driving aspects of your position in the car, what you're doing. You might think you're just going down the road, but your body is reacting differently. And if it thinks you're getting tired, it'll throw a message on the screen that suggests you take a rest. And I know we talked about it when we were talking about the GLA previously, but it's been a standard feature on all of our cars since 2015. And that's standard forward collision mitigation. And that thing will if it senses there's something in front of you, some immovable object, another car or whatever, it's going to give you a warning, a little beep beep, red triangle on the dash. And unless you intervene by hitting the brakes or turning the wheel, that car is going to stop you. It's going to stop you dead. And I've had reports back from customers that happening at speeds as fast as 85 miles an hour. Amazing.
One of the cool things that changed too, GLE and GLS specific, so anything really this size and larger, is when they redesigned them, and something that we can probably point out too is in the back seat.
Sure.
The back of the car grew a lot, like a ton. So one of the big things that you notice is the back door on this is a lot bigger than the old generation. Those seats are back pretty far, and that is a huge back seat. Something Mercedes for years and years and years did not want to do was put a third row in the GLE, because they for years felt it was going to be basically a kid's third row. It wasn't going to be ample for adults or folks over a certain size. Maybe it wasn't going to be safe enough, etc. They finally got a big enough row in this GLE to where now they offer a third row. So it is offered because of how much space you have. If you have it, the one in the showroom does not, but if you do, you actually gain a second set of electronics on the door panel like we've seen on the front rows. And you then have a full third row as well, which actually can turn that GLE from a 5-passenger to a 7. They also added the ability now on the GLS, because of that change, to offer it not only as a 7-seater, but as a 6-seater. So you can do captain's chairs now, also with those separate seat controls on the GLS, which is pretty awesome. Those were both pretty big changes, and they both happened with the redesign for 2020.
One of the things that Mercedes-Benz will always do is listen to the customer. They will take feedback, and whenever they do a new model, and it is a new model, like this particular car and the one before it have different chassis numbers. They're different cars from the ground up, but they will listen to the customer feedback. And what was the customer feedback before, Anthony, about the backseat of the GLE? It's too small. So it really wasn't, but for some people it was. So they made that door 4 inches longer, giving you 4 more inches of space in the back, and the cargo area, even if you don't take that optional third row, is a lot bigger by about 3 inches. So overall, the car is 7 inches longer than its predecessor, and you can tell that immediately when you walk up to it. So much more interior space, which is becoming one of the things that people just demand anymore. They want a larger car.
Mm-hmm. Just a quick reminder for everyone watching before we move over to the E350, please comment throughout this video. Scott and Anthony are here to answer any of the questions that you have on anything that we're showing. Just reminding everyone at home. But anything else that we should know about the GLE 350?
Come in and drive one. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, really.
Seriously, it's pretty funny, but it's one of those and I can honestly say that with a lot of our cars. I mean, it's one of those things with this brand where a lot of the value can't be just shown. A lot of the value has to be experienced, and definitely something that I think you're going to notice throughout the lineup, whether it's the smallest size or the largest size. You really have to kind of take it out on the road and experience it to really kind of understand what the brand is all about. I think especially with sizes like this, the GLE and the GLS, it's staggering how it drives until you actually drive it. There's a reason a lot of folks drive this vehicle and can't believe how different of an SUV experience it is because of how car-like and kind of riding and handling as if it's a car, just by giving you all this space, all this room throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And he's absolutely correct about that. We can talk about paint colors, we can talk about techie features all day long, but what really makes a car? What is luxury? It is how the car rides and drives and how you feel in the vehicle, whether you're a passenger or a driver. That's what Mercedes-Benz is all about. People always say your cars are so expensive. Well, no, they're really not. If you think about it this way, starting right around $40,000 and all the way up. But in any single size point and price point, you actually can spend more money on a vehicle, but you're not going to get a better quality car. And ride and drive does mean a lot. So if somebody looks good to you, you can give any of us a call here, make an appointment, or just come in the door and we'll show you, and you'll be like, no, I don't want to drive it. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Your license. I'm getting a plate. We're going for a ride. Okay. Because it does make a difference. And we don't share our platforms and technology with other brands because it's all Mercedes-Benz. There is no junior Mercedes-Benz brand or a senior Mercedes-Benz brand, like between, I don't want to say anybody, but like between domestic brands. It's all Mercedes. There's no lesser brand in the family.